Hey, good looking. I'm so glad that you came to my kitchen today to sit there and see what we all have cooking. Grab a hold of that vine, swing right on in my kitchen, and let's get cooking. Good looking. Hey there, good looking. I'm so glad that you came to my kitchen because it's another copycat recipe, and today we're gonna do a Wendy's Baconator sloppy Joe. I have some dough that I shaped into buns. They're waiting for my oven to preheat, and then I'm going to be placing my homemade hamburger buns in the oven. I have some of my canned Velveeta cheese, and if you don't want to use a canned Velveeta cheese or even the Velveeta cheese that comes in the box, go ahead, get them little magic slices of cheese that come in them little plastic wrappers, and I believe you're going to be needing 4 of them, 2 for each sandwich. Then I'm sitting there using the Hermel real crumpled bacon. This comes in a 5-pound package. We're not going to use the whole 5 pounds. We're probably going to be using about 1/4 cup or less. We have 1 pound of 80/20 ground beef. We have 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise or Miracle Whip. We have 1 tablespoon ketchup. We have 1 tablespoon of water and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Now, I'm going to grab a wooden spoon and we're going to sit there and break apart the ground beef. But before I'm going to break apart the ground beef, we're just going to simply add the 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of water. Now go ahead, give that all a good mix. Just gonna come in here and just roughly break apart the ground beef. Now also, you're gonna want your ground beef to be at room temperature. That way it doesn't seize up on you and become tough. So keep that in mind. We broke apart our ground beef. Now, I'm just gonna grab the baking soda and a tablespoon of water. We're gonna give it another mix. And then we're gonna pour all this right over our ground beef. We're gonna give it another mix. And then, while this is just setting up, we're gonna sit there and grab the rest of our seasonings. You're gonna need 1 teaspoon of the garlic powder, you're gonna need 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And that's it for the seasonings. Now, go ahead, give that a good mix. Okay, we're just gonna sit there and let these seasonings all set in the pan for, I'll sit there and say, about 3 minutes. And then we're gonna take it over to the stove and we're gonna start frying up the sloppy joes. And in the meantime, grab yourself a spoon and we're just gonna sit there And I like to mix the mayo with the ketchup because that gets spread on a layer of the buns. So go ahead, give this all a good stir and mix it well. Okay, we have our Baconator sauce all mixed up. We're waiting a few minutes to allow all of the seasonings and all that to work its little magic inside the pan before we take the pan over to their stove, and we're just gonna sit there and cook up the ground beef, and we're gonna keep crumbling it as it's all cooking. We're gonna sit there and take my whole wheat Wonder Bread that are what I made into buns, and we're gonna bake them off in the oven and have our buns ready to go when we're gonna be assembling the Wendy's Baconator Sloppy Joe. Buns off to the oven to get baked. Off to the stove top to brown up, and we'll be back over here with our sloppy joes that we just browned up, and we crumpled up the meat as we cooked it. I have our Baconator sloppy joes right over here. Now I'm gonna go grab my buns out of the oven. Right here are my fresh, and I do mean fresh, buns. Now we're just gonna allow our buns to cool, and then we're gonna cut them up and we're gonna assemble the Baconator, or should I say the Baconator Sloppy Joe. And also amongst all this chaos, I'm gonna be frying up some home style fries to go along with the Wendy's Baconator Sloppy Joe. Let's get to assembling that Wendy's Baconator Sloppy Joe. So I already went ahead, I sliced open one of my hamburger buns. Now on each half I'm gonna sit there and take this special Baconator sauce, and we're just gonna spread a layer on each one of the buns as such. Okay, now we're gonna sit there and we're gonna take some of our Baconator Sloppy Joes. We're gonna put it right down onto our sandwich, or our hamburger bun, I should sit there and say. Okay, and on top of that, I'm gonna add some of the bacon. Okay, now I'm gonna open up my can of Velveeta cheese, or you could go ahead and put some slices of American cheese, you know, that stuff that comes in that little plastic wrapper. Well, I'm gonna open up my Velveeta. I'm gonna grab a spoonful. It's still melting all the way down. Now, you could go ahead and build another layer right on top of the cheese sauce, or if you just want it like this, go ahead, put the top on and bon appetit. You decide which way you want to go. So now I'm just gonna sit there and put the top on, and I'm gonna let my husband eat. The old man's coming, so gotta wait for the big kahuna. Are you ready to take a big old taste test of the Wendy's Baconator Sloppy Joe? So, anytime you're ready, honey. Oh, he's like me right away. He goes for the home fries just like me. You're supposed to be taste testing the Sloppy Joe.
Doing it, Mama. Very good, Mama. Man. I can only get 2 of them.
Well, we're gonna let him eat. If you liked what you saw here today, please give me a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. If you're not yet a subscriber, go up, hit that subscribe button, tap that little bell. That way you always be notified every time I do put out a new video. And as always, you stay happy cooking, but better yet, happy eatings. Y'all come back now, you hear?